Why am I muted? There we go. Unmuted. Let me make sure it's using the right microphone. Camera, microphone. Okay, I have little audio boop boops. We are live. Let me just quickly do the everyone link or post, and then we will get this show on the road. Hope everybody's having a wonderful March day. It's hard to believe that we're just a couple of weeks from being a third of the way through the year. Hey Monique, yeah, because you're UK, right? So until what, the last Sunday of this month, and then you guys go into daylight savings time too, right? And then we'll be back to the usual 5-hour difference. All right, it's lunch. Actually, we're going to talk mindset a little bit today too, because I actually had a really good talk with an author yesterday, and I kind of want to share some of the things we talked about in a very anonymous way. I'm glad, Pete. Yeah, it was just muted at the beginning, so everything should be fine now. All right, so that is done. Hopefully you guys can't hear the music that's playing. I am so into Dune 2 right now. I love the movie so much that I've been listening to the soundtrack solid for like the last 3 or 4 days, and I kind of don't want to turn it off, although maybe I'll turn it down a bit. The movie is so good. Like Dune 2 is, I think it's one of the best movies ever made. It's a bit unfortunate that Dune 1 is a very good movie, but not nearly the same caliber as Dune 2 is. Hey, Marisha, and hey, Jill. How are you guys doing? Anybody else is here? Say hi. Oh, I guess we only have 6 people so far. We're just kicking things off. But yes, Dune 2 is just like mind-blowingly amazing. And like I said, so I've got the soundtrack playing right now. It's all instrumental, so yeah, Marisha, I really liked Dune 1 as well. And I thought it was like an amazing sci-fi story until I watched Dune 2, and I'm like, oh, this movie is so much better than Dune 1. It's kind of like Dune 1 kind of pales in comparison while still being a great movie on its own. So I can't wait for Dune 3, which will theoretically be Dune Messiah, is what it'll probably be called. Although I don't know if it's been greenlit yet, so I guess we'll have to see. But like, tell your friends, everybody go see Dune. It's amazing. It's like it's got so many cool elements to it too, right? Where like the good guys are basically very analogous to like Muslim folk living in the Middle East, because it's a desert world, and they speak a language that I don't know. I believe, remember correctly, it does borrow very heavily from Arabic, and that actually, if you read the prequel stories to Dune, it actually mirrors like the people left Earth and settled in different areas as they left Earth, and so the people who settled Dune were actually a primarily Arabic group. So it's super cool. I know, yeah, it is rare for the second movie better than the first, but it is so good. Trail mix Thursday with Mal. I actually don't have trail mix today. I just have water, so you're not getting trail mix. It is, however, Pi Day for anybody who's a big nerd. It's March 14th, 314 Pi Day. So you should have some pie today. I think it's a rule, right? March 14th, there has to be pie. Oh, you have trail mix. That's awesome. That's even better. So I'm curious if anyone right now kind of feels like ads are a struggle, where you're putting a lot of effort in and you're not seeing a massive return. We talked about this last week, but I thought we'd come back to it this week, just in case anyone new is showing up, or people missed it last week. I know a lot of people right now are kind of feeling like ads are harder than they've been before, with less return than before. I think we can chat about that a little bit. Also had a fun talk with an author yesterday who is suffering from success, which at first kind of sounds like a crazy thing for someone to have an issue with. But we talked about like how when you climb, as you're climbing the mountain, you get towards the top, you actually get a whole new fear that you never had before. It used to be like, what if I really want to make it? I really want to make some money off of this. Everything will be so much better if my books sell more. And then when you start selling a lot of books, your mindset completely changes to what happens if it all dries up tomorrow, and goes away. Um, and that can be really hard to deal with. So and then of course she's like, and I want to keep doing better. Like I had a $30,000 month. I want to have a $40,000 month. I want to have a $50,000 month. I'm like, you could, but that might take a lot of work. Do you really want to do the amount of work that it takes to start having $100,000 months, $1 million months? Or would you be much happier just sort of like maintaining or slowly growing your business at a rate that's better for your mental health? Like, you don't have to make, just because some other author makes six figures a month doesn't mean you have to make six figures a month. You can kind of figure out, like, what do I need to make to be comfortable? And that's what I did. I was up around $500,000 a year, um, from books alone at one point, but I was working like a dog, and I'm like, I only really need a significantly lower amount of money to be comfortable. How much work would I have to do to actually be there and then get to like go to the beach when I want and not have to stress about deadlines all the time? So it's totally possible to scale back and just enjoy the ride. I think that's a really important thing. Just like enjoy the process of writing and getting your books out there and interacting with fans. Don't like don't try to monetize every little thing that you're doing in your author career. That's a thing I do far too much. I try to make every single thing that I ever do into a business, and a lot of times I sap the joy out of things that I kind of wish I had. And so I think life is an eternal balancing act. So your mileage may vary, and you might find yourself two steps forward, one step back quite a bit. But it's like always working on the balancing. Um, 85% is not bad for March, though, Monique. And it's interesting that your nonfiction is doing well. Um, we're in the throes right now of the early March sadness. Instead of March madness, it's March sadness, because we're still running the January KU rate, which is always down. January is always lower than November and December. So we start out January, and sales are great. Cost per clicks are low because all the Christmas ads have gone, and we're riding high on that November KU rate. And everything looks amazing. And then February 15th hits, the January KU rate updates, and it's a huge drop from December. It's done this every year since 2016. Before that doesn't really count because the rate was done differently. And then we're like, well, crap, now February looks terrible. We might not look back at January too closely. And then as we get into March, ad cost goes up. This year it seems to be going up more than usual. I don't know if that's an economic thing. I don't know if Facebook just wants to make more money, but ad cost is definitely going up. CPCs are on the rise. So we're running this lower KU rate, and we're seeing an increase in CPCs. And the result is going to be about a 30% drop with the same amount of effort and the same amount of spend. And for a lot of people, they're just like, why isn't it working? And the reason why right now is external factors are what's at play. And hi, Judith. Nice to have you here as well. And hi, Matt and Pig Monster on YouTube. Maintaining for me is writing a nonfiction book a month, working to grow my fiction review right now. So I need to travel. Yeah, right. Travel for the win. What do you? I forget. You mentioned this before. What do you do write for nonfiction, Monique? To see what Mal is 3D printing today. It's a mount for one of my water pumps for my computers. You can see the computer back here is water cooled, and this thing here is the cooling tower. And it cools multiple PCs, or will. It's just everything's just getting started. But I've got another water pump sitting right here, and this thing has no screw holes. So what's printing is a. Can I do it? There we are. What's printing is a mount to mount this water pump to. They did multiple pumps, because if I'm going to cool ultimately 7 computers with this system, I can't have it all in one pump. If that pump fails, I don't want things to go wrong. So that's what's going on with your question, Troy. But yeah, so Actually, I did a post on Ye Old Facebook a little while ago. I'm just gonna share. So share my screen. Give me two shakes of a something. Oh, you've told me that before. Yes. I love how those two things are kind of blended together too. The spiritualism and the Wicca and then supernatural urban fantasy stuff. I bet you can do some crossovers, right? I think that could be pretty cool. All right. So this is like what a lot of people's attribution link data is looking like right now, where you're seeing blue line go down. Blue line is number of clicks. So spend is the same, right? You're spending the same amount of money, but blue line go down, which means the same amount of money is getting you fewer clicks. And in this particular author's case, we're talking a drop of 500 clicks a day for the same spend. That's actually, in this case, it's probably closer to 40% drop in actual traffic. And as a result, her reads are going down too, because we're just getting fewer clicks. It's just not possible to maintain that result. So this is the KU graph, the KU rate graph since 2015. And so every red dot is a January. And you'll see that February is always up from January, almost to December numbers in most cases. A couple of years where December was crazy high and February didn't get that high. But every other year, most every year, we're seeing a real big resurgence in the February number, getting close to the January, close to the December number. So what that means is that tomorrow, if history repeats itself, which is done for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years in a row now. Once tomorrow hits, I really hope so, see an increase in the KU rate, and that's going to make your royalties improve for March. Right now, you're going to look at your number tomorrow and you'll be like, wow, this number go up. I like this. And February should look better as well. So that's a big factor. The other factor at play is ads are costing more. And so it's a matter of trying to figure out how to get your ads to cost less and convert more, which is like always the thing we need to figure out, right? Like this isn't a new struggle at all, trying to sort that one out. And the big thing at play is that Facebook wants more video. So if you want, so what you're going to find is that static image ads have generally climbed for a lot of people. I'm finding it hard when you're running big spends like $50 to $100 a day. It's getting to be almost impossible to keep your CPC under 20 cents per click. But video ads aren't having that problem. And so I want to show you guys something. Oh, is it already increased, Kate? I didn't realize the number it come out. Usually it doesn't come out till tomorrow, till the 15th. Did they upload the report? I'm curious. Tell us more, Kate. Tell us more. This isn't as big as an increase as I was hoping for, but it is an increase. I'll take up over down any day, right? I can't remember what was the rate exactly. Cool. I'll double check that and confirm that afterward, because it looks like it wasn't too far off 0.42 before. I don't have my spreadsheet open. I'm going to get my spreadsheet to get the actual January number. Drive. Shoot, I can't find it. Oh, I'm in the wrong drive. I have more than one Google Drive, just to keep things confused. Let's see. So January. Okay, January was 0.0. It was 0.00409. So just shy of 41. So if it's gone up to 2, that's good. December was 00437. November was 00458. So from November down to January, it dropped by almost 0.5 0.004, you know, in the numbers we care about, everything exists between 4 tenths and 5 tenths of a cent. So it increased by almost 5 hundredths of a cent. Decreased, I mean, almost by 5 hundredths of a cent. So hopefully we'll see an improvement there. Anything better than last July when it was 0.039, right? Okay. But what I wanted to show you guys is, and I've shown this before, I believe, but it doesn't hurt to pop back to it. So this is the number of women in the United States who read fiction. And I could probably throw a couple more things in here, like fantasy books and whatnot, and maybe bump this number up by like another 2 million. But we're going to find that it's around 50 million people in this scenario between 30 and 65. 0.0042257. That is a decent increase. I would have loved to see more, but that should mean that once KDP starts using that, we should all see number go up. I don't know, maybe it already has. I'll double check later and see what it looks like. I use Book Report, and I run Book Report at 0.040 all the time, so that the actual results are like a nice surprise. Anyway, so we've got here all the women in the United States between 30 and 65 who read. We're at 48 million. Now, interestingly, a lot of people are like, well, younger folks don't use Facebook. But watch what happens. I bring this number down to 20. We just added 8 million people between 20 and 30 who read. So there are actually a decent number of younger people on Facebook who read. But are they on Facebook? If I go down here to placements, switch to manual placements, and I remove Instagram, suddenly that number drops from 66 to 38 million people. Almost half of the people you can target with Facebook ads who are women in the United States who read, almost half of them are only on Instagram and not on Facebook at all. They're only on Instagram, because when I remove Instagram, they disappear from my targetable audience. And I can do the reverse. I can turn Instagram on and turn off Facebook, and I'm at 55 million people. So let that sink in for a little bit there. If I target only Instagram, I can target 55 million people. The total number is 66, and Facebook alone is 38. There are more people in my target audience here on Instagram than there are on Facebook. Without a doubt, 100%, Instagram has the bigger audience. So actually, and interestingly, if I just look at an older audience, like 45 to 65, I'll actually see Facebook as the bigger group. But when we look sort of like at the full spread of women who are reading books right now in the United States, it's the bulk of them are on Instagram. Now, the reason why that is salient is because Instagram doesn't do as well with still image ads. That's part of the problem. Our audience is leaving Facebook, moving to Instagram, and which might see an even bigger influx if TikTok actually does see some sort of restriction placed on it and or change of ownership. I mean, if it's a straight up change of ownership, in theory, nothing will change. We'll see how that goes. But as it stands right now, Instagram is actually, from a reaching humans perspective, a bigger platform. Now, Facebook is still a big platform for ads because people spend more time on Facebook than they spend on Instagram. So that's why Facebook will still oftentimes show your ads more on Facebook than it will on Instagram, because humans are just on Facebook more. But when it comes to number of unique humans, Instagram has the edge there. But the thing you got to think about then is Instagram doesn't do well with still ads. Instagram is all about the reels. Everybody who's hanging on Instagram, they're going through reels. They're not just scrolling the image feed exclusively. It's a very reel heavy experience now. So if you want to do ads and you want to get the low CPCs, and if you do them well, good conversions, then you need to actually be running real ads, and those need to be done like a TikTok reel, where you've got like a couple of slideshows or a couple of screens with a short snippet of text. No longer than like is the part, like as far as like the part where you change text and people need to read things, no longer than like 15 seconds. A lot of times I'll leave the last scene where I'll have the book cover and like a final little call to action kind of bit of text, I might leave that run for 5 seconds, but the bulk of the information, all new information in the reel needs to come out within 15 seconds. And then you can just let that last frame kind of hold. But that's what's really working these days. That's how you get the low cost per clicks. And even if you think about it, if you can run, like, let's say you've got an ad, a still image ad that's running at 20 cents per click, and it's converting it, I don't know, you're getting 15 pages read per click. And then you have a reel ad that is running at 10 cents per click. So just it's half as expensive, 20 cents down to 10 cents, and you're only getting 9 pages read per click. Well, when you do the math on how much money you're spending, that reel, even though maybe it's converting worse, is actually giving you more reads. So keep that in mind. That cost, the potential of lowering your CPC by 30 to 50% could actually take ads and conversions that aren't great and actually make them profitable. So keep that in mind. Kate says, with Reels music will be run into copyright issues using sound in an ad. That is a very good question. What I always recommend is strip out the music and put in something that you can get a license to, like off of Adobe Stock, stock.adobe.com or something like that. There's really good music on stock.adobe.com. You can pick genre, you can pick mood, you can choose whether or not it has any lyrics or anything like that. Some people are doing something where what they're doing is they're making the video on Instagram. So they'll put the video up on Instagram and they'll look for music that is like used commercially. I think there's like a selection there. That's what someone told me they're doing. They said they're looking for music that can be used commercially on Instagram. I need to double check what that looks like. Oh, that's what she's doing. She actually goes to make an ad on Instagram and then selects music on Instagram that she can add to her reel while she's on Instagram. Because you can do that. You can make ads right on Instagram. And then she's using that music to make the ad. And then she downloads it via Snap, Insta, or Instas, whatever. One of the tools for downloading videos from Instagram. And then she slaps it up on her ad. So that's another way you can do it as well. Epidemic or Audio Hero. I've not used these, but apparently those are also good options for getting music. Yes, you can. But like I said, you need to make sure that you can actually license that music. So like I said, I put in fresh music off Adobe Stock, but some people, like I said, they'll actually go to make an ad on Instagram using the Instagram app, and then they limit themselves to music they can pick there because they figure, Facebook and Instagram have commercial license to that music. But whatever you do, don't go throw up an ad that uses a reel or TikTok that you ran that has Taylor Swift in it or something like that, because that's a great way to get your ads account shut down. They're pretty particular about that sort of thing. So, and if you're doing a lot of reels, like you're putting up a ton of reels, that can be actually a great system for you to find content you've already made that could make a great ad. Like look for the ones that go viral, look for the ones that get the most comments and have the most interactions, and try them as ads. That can be a great way to put them in. One thing of note, when you make, I'm going to share my screen here in just a second. There's a bug in Facebook that I need to warn you folks about. It's been there for months. It's driving me bonkers, but it's there. So we go down here. If I go to add some videos, I guess I'll toss this guy up, which I accidentally put on my account. It's client ad. So once you put the video up, you think like, oh, I've got my video up. I recommend doing dynamic creative and putting a few videos in and then pruning out the ones that aren't working that well. You think you're all fine and ready to go. But what you need to do is you need to edit the video, click thumbnail, click manual, and actually pick your thumbnail that you're going to use with the video. If you don't do this, you're like going to have a 95% chance of getting a delivery error, and it's going to say can't find the image. And you're like, I'm running a video, not an image. And it's because the automatic thumbnail building thing broke. So always go in and make a manual thumbnail. So again, once you get the image loaded, once you get the video loaded, you click edit video, thumbnail, manual, and then pick your video. Or pick your thumbnail, I should say, and then you're good to go. So make sure you do that. Otherwise, you'll have issues. Yeah, Envato does have stock videos, but they're good places for the video. But I generally don't actually use video in my in my ads, I generally use a still image or like a slideshow of images. I just make them in Canva with still images. You certainly can use video. I've done it a few times. I find Canva is really bad at slicing up video and text, though. It's like really frustrating. So I've actually switched. If I have to do a video reel or TikTok, I'll actually make it in Adobe Premiere. I recently found a plugin that will actually let me do TikTok style text with like the bubble wrap around it and everything like that. So I'm pretty happy with that. So, hey, Miriam, it's a long time no see. I do this every day, Miriam. Miriam used to hang out when we would do when I would do my live streaming, my writing every day. So it's been a time. Yeah, I do this every noon EST on Thursdays, Miriam. Thanks. Camtasia. Yeah, Camtasia works too. I think I stopped using Camtasia way back in the day because they were more expensive on PC than Mac. And I was like, screw you guys. You know. So so yeah, that's my thoughts on ads right now. It's a bit of a thing, but I think it's going to take a lot of us switching over to video. I am experimenting with some new ways of dealing with the Advantage Plus targeting, because that's a big reason why ads aren't working as well as they used to, is Advantage Plus targeting. And I've got some theories that I'm trying to play out. We'll see how they go. I don't have anything conclusive to say on that front yet. But yeah, now that this new rate's out, we should all see our numbers go up a little bit. It depends on how KU heavy you are and how many reads you've been getting. I know some people that are up in the million reads a month range are going to see a very noticeable jump from that increase in the rate. I'm sure will make their next payment from Amazon a lot better, because the one that comes at the end of this month is the January payment. So end of April will be the February payment. Thank goodness there's an extra day in there too, right? So yeah, anybody think it's like on their mind right now, anything they're struggling with or thinking about, or cool uncool things they've heard? I'm curious what folks have got going on. I've been living in this ads world just like almost exclusively. Like usually I do a lot of other things, but it's been like just like all ads for the last couple of weeks, just because it's been taking so much work to make everything go well for our clients. It's kind of all I'm thinking about. One thing I did notice, by the way, I thought was really interesting. We were talking in our mastermind group yesterday about Amazon's, what do they call it? Oh man, that's one piece of hair. Virtual voices, where they use AI narration for books. So I was like, kind of like, Jill did a little bit of spelunking around to try and see, is anyone actually making any money off of that yet? And we couldn't find anyone that was actually making money. So one of the people in our mastermind group had gone and done a whole bunch of her books with the virtual voice. And so I looked at them, and one of the things, and she did like 30 books, and it's been like two months at least, and she hasn't sold a single one. So it was kind of curious about that. And we looked and realized any book that uses virtual voice and is in KU, they actually don't. The default purchase option is that people get it for free. It says included in your membership. And as it turns out, they basically pay you in a modified form of KU reads for those books. So you're actually not going to see it as a sale. It's just going to lump in with KU reads, which I thought was kind of interesting. And then, of course, if someone buys the ebook, they get the audiobook, the virtual voice audiobook for $2. So I kind of feel like that might be why no one's really seeing much movement if they've been doing this, because they're probably just mixed in with their existing audio, which is kind of unfortunate that they've done that. But what I was kind of thinking to myself is like, I wonder if it's a bad move to use this, because do I really want to devalue my product? I'm thinking sort of like not just about me in particular, but for any of us. Do I really want to devalue my product and my presentation with this subpar AI narration? Because the Amazon one is definitely subpar. That just doesn't really sell well and just kind of turns people off. And I'm kind of thinking, no. I'm kind of thinking, I don't think I want to do that. That's definitely a thing. I struggled with that too, Miriam, where I had to, I've taken basically when I stopped daily streaming my writing, I kind of stopped writing around that same time. It took quite a while to get back into it. I kind of burned myself out, and I had to set aside like designated creativity time. For me, it has to be first thing in the morning. Once I start thinking business and work and all that, then creativity becomes much harder. So for me, it's first thing in the morning, and I'm actually really feel like I found the joy again in writing, and I'm really happy about that. That I get to focus on just in like having a good time doing it, spending time with my characters, and sort of divorcing the business part of the business from the writing part. And actually, the author I was talking yesterday, who's kind of like suffering from success in a variety of ways, like mostly mindset ways, but some ways where she's like she picked up a stalker and stuff like that. Like there's been some stuff that's actually been kind of hard on her. The stalker situation is resolved for her though, so that part's good. But where was I going with this? I talked about how like you almost have to like think of yourself, think of the marketing person and the marketing side of the business as a different person doing that. And when you're writing, you're just like, I'm just a writer making my stuff, and there's this other person over there who has to deal with the business side of things. But when I'm in my office in front of my computer writing, I am just a writer. I'm just thinking about like the story and what's right for the story and right for my characters. And then when you're doing the marketing side of things, the opposite happens. We bring all the doubts of an author to us. We're like, oh, what if the story's no good? What if I made terrible decisions and whatnot? And what you kind of have to do as a marketer is think to yourself, like, nope, I'm working at some publishing company and someone just handed me a book and said, like, do a marketing campaign for this book. So I look at the book as though it's a product and it's good and we're going to try and sell it, and separate yourself in that way between those two things. Have you sort of disconnected from the writing community? I know a lot of people really got a lot of my writing streams, and I feel so bad that I ended them. But it was a struggle for me too. But do you have like another writing community that you're connected to right now? So I do feel like the writing having connections to the writing community is really important. And yeah, that's something I've got to do too. I've pulled my books from Findaway. I haven't got them to Author Republic yet, but I might also do Publish Drive. I'm giving Publish Drives a bit of thought as well when it comes to books, my audiobooks. So they might be the way I go to. Making voice actors on our TikTok essentially free advertising because they promote your books, they promote their services, and I kind of thought of dual support. Yeah, that's true. A lot of voice actors that do that. If you get a good voice actor, they bring their own following with them. So that's actually a really good point, and you miss out on that entirely from doing the virtual voice. You don't get that additional thing because yeah, there's lots like I know a lot of sci-fi readers they actually listen by the narrator, not by the author. So that 100% makes sense. You're very welcome, Kate. Yeah, yay, Publish Drive. Danica actually works for Publish Drive. She also works for the Writing Live. She's like double dipping. But she's got me convinced to give Publish Drive a shot for audiobooks. I think I will. Because I like them. I like what they're doing. I like Kinga, who's sort of like one of the people who started Publish Drive who I've met, and then also their current COO seems like a really good guy and has like his really wants to make the platform work for authors. So I'm excited about that. I think that's really good. Oh, Mary, congratulations! That's awesome. I'm glad that I'm guessing it all went well. Hooray! And that you're getting back into writing. I can totally see how that's like it throws a big wrench into like your daily structure and everything. So I totally get that how that could do. Well, you can at least come here and hang out. On Thursdays at noon. Maybe I'm changing the way that I work personally from a writing perspective, where I'm from a marketing and advertising perspective, I'm doing less scheduled calls with authors and more like behind the scenes work on ads and managing my team and whatnot. So who knows? Maybe at some point in the future, live streams for writing could come back. I think that could be pretty fun, eh? All right. Yeah, Danica's your girl for anything you guys want to help with Publish Drive. She can totally help you out. Oh, so close. I use Pronoun too. I liked Pronoun. Their setup was so elegant and simple. It was a thing of beauty. I'm bummed that they closed their doors. I also lost all the sales data from them, and I always forget to add in like all the stuff I sold on Pronoun back in the day. Um, Whenever I'm like doing any all-time number kind of tallies or anything like that. But I think that's all I have to talk about. And I did want to mention one other thing too. Mid-March is always a low point for retail sales. It always takes a lot of sales. Overall, retail sales don't slump too much in March, but it's generally because everybody is working their butt off trying to drive new sales. So keep that in mind as well, that this is a bit of a slow time, and things will pick up. Things will pick up in April and May, and they'll start to dip again actually in late June, and they'll dip into early July when everybody gets out of school, and our number one readers, aka grandparents, are busy like watching kids and having kids come to visit them and stuff like that. And then summer camps will get underway, and things actually do pretty good in late July, early August. And then once back to school hits, everybody gets like their schedules all get upset again, and things tend to dip a fair bit around Labor Day weekend, but they do climb again towards Christmas. So there's like a seasonality to everything. And depending on what you write, if it's a very trad heavy subgenre, you will see a dip in October as well, because trad releases the bulk of their books come out in October because they're all going for big sales and whatnot right before Christmas, so they can have like these new titles that they can push and advertise and whatnot for Christmas. So keep that in mind about the seasonality. Like things go up and down on their own. With or without any effort of our own, they're going to ebb and flow on their own. So don't stress too much if you just sort of see some of these seasonal changes. Obviously, if you see things really trending in a certain way and nothing seems to be covering it, like obviously you need to do things. But also if you're just like, wow, like the same amount of effort seems to be giving me less return than it did 2 months ago, you can also think, well, this is a bit of a slower time of year, and it should improve in April and May. And you set yourself up for that, right? Like think about sales you could be running, think about swaps you could be doing, about promotions, all sorts of things to sort of capitalize on those times a year where stuff's going to improve. We all have to be multi-pronged in what we're doing in this office. We can't just have only one iron in the fire, because that iron will not always produce as well. So just sort of some final thoughts for all of you there. But I got a call coming up at 1. Our ad team meeting is now at 1 on Thursday, so I got to get ready for that, because there are now 5 of us at the Writing Wives working on ads, and I've got to get my ducks in a row and to work with a team on everything. So I will see you fabulous folks next week, same time. Oh wait, no, there is no Lunch with Mal next week, because I'm going to be at PAX, which is where I and my family, we hang out with 50,000 of our closest video game nerd friends. So yeah, we won't have Lunch with Mal on Thursday. That's a bummer. Maybe I'll do it on Tuesday. Yeah, you know what? I'm committed. I'm going to do Lunch with Mal on Tuesday next week. It might be a little bit shorter, but we're going to do it. Lunch with Mal. Save this event. No, you won't be 2 weeks. You're going to see me next week on Tuesday. I think just kind of spazzed when it finished printing that. Oh wait, not spazzed. Freaked out. There you go, Monique. I'll see you then. And remember, I don't think daylight savings time won't have kicked in for you yet, so there'll be 4 hours off. It's actually not a trip because it's in Boston. We're going to be going Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Thursday it's just me and Eva. Friday it's me, Eva, and Jill, and then Saturday it's me, Eva, Jill, and Eva's girlfriend. So we're bumping it up. So, all right. See you guys Tuesday, and have a fabulous weekend. Ciao.